Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Rosa-Leigh and Friends. And we're so glad you're here today, and we have a special guest, Chef Chowder.
Bonjour, mes amis.
And we're so glad you're here, Chef Chowder. And I can see by your chef's cap that you're planning to make something today.
Oh, oui, a menu.
And what is on your menu?
An appetizer, a French onion soup.
Oh, yes.
And for the main course, some French toast, made with French bread, served with French fries, and some French dressing.
Oh, that sounds good.
And for dessert, we'll have French vanilla ice cream.
Oh, I love French vanilla ice cream.
And to drink, some French pressed coffee.
Oh, everything on your menu is French.
But of course, I am the French chef Chowder.
That's true, you are.
So what can I serve you?
Well, I'm not really hungry, but I am thirsty.
Oh, so some French press coffee.
No, thanks. I would prefer water.
Water. You're asking a French chef to serve you plain, ordinary water?
I'm afraid so. I don't mean to insult you, Chef Chowder, but I'm thirsty, and when you're thirsty, really, water is the only thing that satisfies. Speaking of that, today in our story, in John chapter 4, there was a woman who was thirsty for water.
Oh, did she go to a restaurant?
No, she didn't. But she actually lived in Sychar, which is in Samaria, in the land of Israel. And Jesus and his disciples were on their way to Galilee, and they had to pass through Samaria. Usually the Jews would walk around the area, but Jesus purposely went to Samaria, and he ended up at Jacob's well, which was in Sychar. And he sat down to rest, and his friends, the disciples, went into the market to get some food because it was lunchtime and they were hungry. And while he was sitting there, this woman comes along with her water pot to draw water.
Oh, was there no water fountain or water bottles?
Oh, they didn't have those back then. In fact, they didn't even have kitchen sinks with taps that ran, running water from your tap. They didn't have that. And so Jesus said to her, "May I have a drink?" And she was amazed because the Samaritans were not liked by the Jews. She was amazed that he even asked her.
Oh, I remember the story of the Good Samaritan and the Jew that helped a Samaritan.
That's right. Actually it was the other way around. It was the Samaritan that helped the Jew.
Oh, that's right. Forgive me.
That's okay, Chef Chowder. But, after he had asked her for water, he said to her, "If you knew who I was, you would ask me for living water."
Oh, I never heard of that.
Well, she hadn't either. In fact, she thought he was talking about the well that she was drawing water from, and she thought, "You don't even have a bucket to draw water, and the well is deep. Are you even greater than our father Jacob, who built this well?"
Oh, she has a point there.
Well, Jesus said, "Whoever drinks of this water in this well, they'll be thirsty again. But whoever drinks of the water that I will give them will never thirst. For the water that I will give them will become in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life."
Oh, living water. Wow.
Yes. Well, when the woman heard this, she said, "Give me some of that living water. I would like to have that so I don't have to come back to this well and draw water again."
Oh, that's so true.
Yes. Well, that's what she thought. But Jesus said, "Well, go get your husband." And she said, well, I don't have any husband.
But I thought Jesus knew everything.
Well, he did. In fact, he said to her, you have 5 husbands. And the man you're with right now isn't even your husband.
Oh, I bet she was surprised.
Well, she was. In fact, she said, you must be a prophet. You must be a man of God, because only a man of God could know that. And then she said to him, I have a question for you. The Samaritans think you should worship God here, and the Jews think you should worship God in Jerusalem. Well, where should we worship God? And Jesus said, well, it doesn't matter where you worship God. It's who you worship. Who is the God you worship? And then she said, well, I have heard that the Messiah will come, God's Son. And Jesus said, I am He.
Oh, he is the Son of God.
That's right, He is. And you know that woman that was so thirsty, she dropped her water pot right there beside the well, and she ran into town to tell everyone. She shouted, come see, come meet a man who knows everything I ever did. This must be the Son of God.
And so what happened?
Well, everybody from town, it says the whole town came out to meet him.
Oh, she shared the living water.
Yes, she did. You know, that woman told everyone, and they all came to see Jesus, and some people believed in Jesus because of this woman. But a lot of the people believed in Jesus because when they met him, they knew he was the Savior of the world. You see, Jesus came to that well to show that very woman, the Samaritan woman, that he was the Savior of the world. She was an outcast. She came at a time of day, at noon hour, and most people wouldn't be out in the heat of the day because the other women looked down on her. But Jesus knew that. He didn't care what bad decisions she had made, what bad choices she had made, because he loved her. He loved her so much, and us so much, that he was willing to leave his home in heaven to come down and live in this earth, live a perfect life. And then while he was here, they took him and they nailed him to a cross, and he died. But not for any wrong that he had done. He died for us, for the wrong we had done, because the Bible tells us the punishment for the wrong we've done is death. And we couldn't die for our own sins. But Jesus, being the perfect Son of God, he could take our sins, the punishment for our sins, and he died in our place.
But he didn't stay dead.
No, he didn't. He came alive again. That's how much he loved us. He was willing to come and seek out that woman. You know, boys and girls, Jesus is looking for the lost, those that feel empty inside, that know there's got to be more to life, someone who can satisfy their longings. And Jesus is able to do that. That woman found forgiveness of her sin.
The living water.
That's right. That cleansed her heart and made her whole. And then she had to tell everybody about a Savior who loved her so much.
Oh, I love that story.
I love that story too. And I think we should be willing to share the living water. There are people out there that are thirsty. They need to know that Jesus left heaven to come to earth to take their place on the cross. And he loves them. He died for them. And he rose again. And he wants them to put their trust in him, their faith in him, and what he's done for them, so they can have their sins forgiven.
That is a wonderful story. Say terrific.
Say terrific. Yes, it is terrific. Well, Chef Chowder, what do you have to say to the boys and girls?
Au revoir, mes amis.
Thank you for joining us, boys and girls, and keep looking up.
Au revoir.